Some of the things that led me to choose counseling as a career are my faith has a strong focus on serving others. As a youth, I spent a lot of time volunteering with my church group. When I was helping people in the community, I just remember how happy I felt when I would see people's faces light up. One of my first projects that I did with the youth group was serving Thanksgiving dinner to the unhoused in downtown Salt Lake City, and just seeing these people who had come from a background of difficulty and seeing the light in their eyes and the joy that they felt. Just that simple act that we did was just so meaningful to me. I've continued volunteering in my community throughout my life. There's nothing so incredible as bringing a smile to a person's face. The experiences that have led me to become a counselor are my own personal experiences with significant trauma, grief, and loss. And through that, I've had incredible counselors who have helped me through very difficult experiences. The counseling that I've experienced and worked through has had such a big impact on my life that I want to be able to provide that same relief to others who might also be struggling. How did my family and friends talk about mental health growing up? I remember having a friend in elementary school who talked about going to group therapy because her parents were getting divorced, and she was super excited to go. So I thought, well, that sounds pretty fun. So my perception of group therapy was that's a fun thing. In my own family, only one of my brothers was allowed to go to therapy. My dad was very strict growing up. He only went to therapy for a short time. And then when I was registering for my first semester of college, I needed to sign up for psychology, and my dad got really mad and he said, "Psychology is for kooks." So I think he had a very negative perspective on psychology and counseling. Counseling is absolutely an essential field. Society as a whole is beginning to recognize how critical mental health is in terms of functioning in relationships, communities, and society as a whole. Decades of research have shown that addressing mental health concerns significantly improves functioning. We also know that early interventions reduce the severity of mental illness. The field of counseling is unique because it focuses on treating mental health disorders individually as opposed to social programs and research in related fields. Number 4, how do people change? I would say the first step to change is a desire, and typically a client will recognize that they have a problem that's interfering with the quality of life and they want to make a change. The next step is insight. Introspection can help us identify what factors in our lives are contributing to poor mental health. And then working with a counselor and to create a robust treatment plan with clear goals creates a pathway for a client to make those changes. And then adhering to and modifying goals throughout that process is what brings about that change. And often change is gradual and can be seen as we reflect back on our functioning, months or years before that. And we can see, hey, yeah, I have made some changes in my life and I am functioning better. Number 5, I really enjoy working with teens for 3 reasons. I love seeing how they're just exploring who they are and where they fit in the world. They're developing their identity and figuring out how their identity relates to social networks. Second, I love to see how eager adolescents are to grow and improve their lives. And third, many youth who struggle as a result of a difficult life circumstances have the potential to thrive when they go through the process of counseling. They set goals, they see things that aren't working in their lives, and many times a corrective emotional experience can help them bring about significant change. I'd really like to work in an adolescent partial hospitalization program. I'm very social and I would just enjoy the interaction with the kids. I'm a school bus driver And I really love interacting with those kids every day. And, you know, some of the high school kids will come up and sit next to me and just tell me what's going on in their lives and how many hours they've gotten for driver's ed. I really love interacting with them. What skills will help you in this field? I've raised 6 kids and worked as a foster parent. So I have a lot of experience with, you know, the teenage years and a diversity too in backgrounds and children's individual needs. I've definitely developed a lot of patience as a mother of 6 and a school bus driver. And I delight in kids. I have my own background of trauma and abuse, and that gives me a pretty good empathy for the suffering of other people. I also consider myself to be a good listener and a very curious person. And I find it easy to connect with people from all different backgrounds. Number 7, the skills I hope to gain are, you know, a deeper understanding of counseling theory and how it can be applied to clients' individual needs. I want to develop skills of understanding and supporting various cultural, social, and experiential backgrounds. I also want to learn crisis and trauma interventions. Number 8, what misconceptions do people have about counseling? The one that stands out to me is like, I'll often hear people say, oh yeah, I went boating, that's my therapy. And you hear people say that a lot, like, oh yeah, that's my therapy. And I'm like, that's great self-care, but it's not actual therapy. Self-care is very important and it is a part of therapy. But there's a distinct difference between self-care and the steps of counseling, the introspection, understanding your life challenges, and habits that may be interfering with your quality of life. And then the process of developing treatment goals and interventions that can improve your quality of life and your functioning. And a lot of times hobbies are a part of that. Number 9, what biases do I have? Definitely my history of trauma and attachment wounds. Sometimes I can project that onto other people, like seeing that they're sad, oh, they must have an attachment wound, kind of over relating to people in my life. So I will definitely make sure that I'm participating in supervision, self-reflection, continuing education, and keeping an open mind, you know, when maybe in supervision, if it's suggested that my biases are interfering, but just keeping an open mind and making sure that my biases aren't influencing the treatment of my clients in a negative way. Thank you.